Hi, Charlotte Symonds here. I thought perhaps I'd start this video by explaining this blank red wall behind me. I recently had this room painted red. I've always loved the color red. It's my favorite color. When my children lived at home, the idea of having a red room did not excite them. So I decided to wait until they were gone. So now with my youngest having left the nest, I was able to paint any room, any color I wanted. Although I did bring my youngest with me, and she helped me pick out the candy apple red room paint that we see here. And there are no shelves or mirrors up on the wall because I haven't had time to call the handyman to come put them back up again because I've been busy trying to promote my books. I'd like to discuss my newest novel, Exception to the Rule. This story is about Delilah Bennett. She's a ghostwriter for a New York Times best-selling author. Although she writes about love, she's never personally experienced it. She lives with her best friend Ren in New York City. It's very common in New York City to have a roommate because rents are extremely high. And I thought, since this is a romantic comedy, that possibly having her live with a roommate would have some fuel for some interesting interactions that could be funny and work well with the story. And not only is Ren her best friend, but he's basically the closest thing that Delilah has to family. I also have Delilah being raised in Brooklyn, so I made her character a bit more sassy and cocky than I have any of my other female protagonists in my previous novels. Delilah can take anything that life throws at her. She's strong. New York strong! Exclamation point. Even though this is a romantic comedy, this book has enough steam to cloud up your windows if you happen to read it in a car. In fact, there is a very hot scene that takes place in a car. A fiery red Mustang, actually, to be specific. You could read the longer synopsis of my book on my Amazon profile or on Goodreads. So I'd like to talk a little bit about writing this story. Again, as I've stated, in most of my books, my novels take place in New York City. But this one I wanted there to be some traveling back and forth to somewhere else. So I chose Connecticut. So the reason I picked Connecticut is because when I was younger, the idea of Connecticut was like a fantasy to me. I think it was those Rock Hudson, Doris Day movies that I must have watched as a child. I don't think I actually even visited Connecticut until I was in my 20s. But growing up, I envisioned it as little white houses with meticulously kept lawns, covered with, they had the little white picket fences all around. And it was so different from what I had outside my house were slabs of concrete, black wrought iron fence, picket fence. And I'm not saying that I would change it because I wouldn't. I wouldn't have wanted to grow up anywhere else in the world. And growing up in Brooklyn made me the person and the writer I am today. And I'm very proud to say that I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I love doing research, and for this book it was a lot of fun because there were so many towns and shops and wineries to learn about in Connecticut that I wasn't aware of. As with my other novels, my male protagonist in this story is one of the nice guys. I truly believe there are nice guys in this world, so I write about them to give credence to their existence. But do not misunderstand me, because just because some guys are nice does not mean that they are not bad boys in the bedroom. Unfortunately, of the many frogs I've kissed in my life, only one turned into a prince. And as fate would have it, I let him go. And I actually dedicated this book to him. He lives way across on the other side of the country, and this is a chick book. So I know he's never going to see it, but that's okay because I know I wrote it, and I know that there is true love. True love does exist. And when you find it, don't let anything break you free from it. If you're not a believer in true love, just open your eyes and pay a little more attention. You can see true love is all around you if you look for it. When you pass a bus stop and you see the smile on a young girl's face when she's looking into her boyfriend's eyes just before kissing him goodbye, you can see it. You can also see it at a florist while you're watching a guy pick out the perfect bouquet, and you watch and see the time and effort he looks at flowers and picks just the right ones to go with it. That man is truly in love. You can see true love when you see two elderly people walking hand in hand, slowly strolling down the sidewalk, as if they've been doing the same stroll for 40 years. Love is all around us. It's just that for some of us, it isn't personally in our lives. But be patient, because love will eventually find us all. So here's wishing each woman out there finds the man of her dreams so she can get the love, respect, loyalty, and sex as we as women all deserve.